Yo, what's up there, YouTube? This is what Deuces 1929 here, like, welcome you to another fine episode of GTA Autos. Now, right here in front of us, what we're driving right now, this is the Albany Emperor. Now, let's get started with this car, because I hate this car. Everyone hates this car. This car sucks. It sucks. One of the worst handling cars, one of the worst performing cars in the whole game. The slowest car in the game, car that no one likes. So, let's get started. The Albany Emperor was first introduced in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Even in the beginning, the Emperor wasn't a bad car. It was actually a very well performing car, very good handling, and it was very nice. This car was based off an Infiniti from the early 90s. I can't tell which model it is because I'm not a big Infiniti fan, and I don't know the history of the Infiniti, so I don't know all the nice cars from back in the 90s. But it was based off the Infiniti, and it was a really nice performing car, an average sedan with an average performance rate. Really nice. It wasn't until when it was introduced in Grand Theft Auto 5 years later, when it was introduced in Grand Theft Auto 4, when it was first introduced into the HD universe, when it was being based off as the 80s, late 70s Cadillac Fleetwood Bromes. Now, Fleetwood Brome, to me, I would like to say, is my favorite kind of Cadillac, especially the ones made between 1993 and 1996. They are really nice. This is a story for another time. I don't want to start rattling around, but the Fleetwood Brome was Cadillac's second upscale model that it had, because you had the Seville, which was basically the family the family runabout. You had the El Dorado, which was basically Cadillac's flagship car. You had the DeVille, which is basically a larger flagship model, a larger kind of stately look Cadillacs, and you had the Fleetwood Brougham, which is, to me, is the biggest Cadillac that I think General Motors had to offer. The car had a V8. Wasn't a very powerful V8. 0 to 60 was very slow back in the day, but this was the 80s, so who cares? It was the only rear-wheel drive Cadillac. All the other Cadillacs, they were all front-wheel drive. All the other ones were front-wheel drive. They were very expensive. The Fleetwood was no exception, but for being the only rear-wheel drive car of its class, it sort of did very well. Now, the Fleetwood Brougham was very short-lived until 1996. It was the last year the Fleetwood Brougham had out, and it was because Cadillac had already had the DeVille and the Seville, so there was basically no reason of keeping the Fleetwood Brougham still being on the market. So that's why the Fleetwood Brougham is not in production right now. The Emperor, not a very good car. It's not a very good performing car. It's very bad when it comes to handling. The only thing I think it's really good at doing is taking some sharp turns in some situations, like I just did. It took a really good sharp turn, but that's when you're going at low speeds. Customizations suck because it doesn't have any good customizations. It's a very bad car. I'm sorry. There's no way of explaining how bad this car is. The performance, it's not all that bad. I think I overreacted about the performance because the Regina has the worst performance. It's right there, I would say, still below average because it's not that fast. As it progressed on into Grand Theft Auto 5, it's still got worse. It was much bulkier, it was much heavier, it performed much worse. It performed better in Grand Theft Auto 4 than it did on here. The beat up version was no exception either. It was even worse, had a worse horn. The Emperor is just not a good car. There's no way to explain it, but all in all, the Emperor is just a bad car from the beginning when they decided to change it. Now, I don't know why, and I don't know why Rockstar did it, but maybe the Emperor needs to have a second chance at being something really cool. I don't know how they'd be able to do it, but somehow they can do it. Now, I don't have much to say about this other than that it's just the worst car on a scale of 1 to 10 with styling. I have to give it a 1 because this car is really not that popular when it comes to styling. Nobody wants a car like this. It's not a really good car. On a scale of 1 to 10 with the performance, I'm going to have to give it a 2 because not only this thing is very bad with performing, It's not that slow, but I would say it's on the verge of being one of the slowest cars in the game. When it comes to a nostalgic appeal, when it comes to sex appeal, it has to be a negative one because it's not that good. I'm sorry. I know I had to go all the way down to negatives, but this car is really not that good. There's no way that you can do it. You can put $20,000 into this car and it'll still be a piece of shit. There's no way of doing it. So, other than that, I have nothing more to say about this car. So this is What a Doozy 1929 here signing off with the Albany Emperor. I hope I see you guys in the next episode.